Hey everyone, Dave here. Welcome to a new Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we are talking about Scarab King. So when Scarab King was first released in the first iteration, the first round of Doom Tower Hard, well Doom Tower, but Doom Tower Hard is the hard version of it. It was one of the toughest bosses and everybody raged about that he should be nerfed till we found out how to beat him. You must have a shield all the time, otherwise he counterattacks, he strips buffs, he puts some nasty debuffs on you, so there are only, with this kind of content, there's only two ways of beating it, and I'll tell you now why my way, or what most people are doing, is the easy thing. So you either build crazy stats on all of your team to have 5 members of your team. Usually they are dedicated for that specific boss, and we have so many bosses in the game now that this is not practical, with crazy stats like high enough resistance, high enough damage, high enough healing or whatever. And the specific thing about this boss, about the Scarab, this is the highest Scarab on this rotation, it's on level 100, is that he has like a silly shield bar. We'll see it when we get into the run. And you can only start doing actual damage to it when you destroy that shield, and this shield is only destroyed if you're decreasing his max HP. So there are only two ways of doing this in game. Some champs got that built in their skills, but they are not crazy useful because the rest of their kit is not good enough to tackle that boss. And the other way is that the destroy gear set. So if we go, don't worry, we'll jump into the run and everything. So the destroy gear set, if you see its description, decreases enemy max HP by 40% of damage dealt. So when Scarab was released, destroy set was garbage, nobody was using it, and suddenly it became one of the top required gear sets. People started farming the dragon a ton to get good pieces for it, because that's how you beat Scarab. So building a whole team with the crazy stats, specific gear, and all of that stuff, that's the much tougher way. You don't have that many champs to spread over specific builds for different types of teams. So the second part, which is, it requires crazy stats, crazy gear, but it's focusing on one champ, which is the solo strategy that almost everyone is doing for Scarab right now. And from the community and people releasing videos on and posts on Reddit and all of this, we discovered early on, because I'll tell you a sequence there, we discovered that Vergus, the high elf epic, is excellent in tackling Vergus, in tackling the Scarab boss. Why? Because if you put him in a gear set, in a destroy set and immortal, we'll talk about the gear requirement later. What are his skills? He got a passive that basically puts continuous heal and shield on him when he loses a certain type of HP. His A1, basically he's based on defense, so he's quite tanky, puts reflect damage, and forget about Ally Protect, because we're not using Ally Protect, will kill Vergus because of how much damage the boss is hitting the team with. So the strategy that someone figured out on Reddit, and then it spread over content creation, is that use Vergus, basically make him reach the boss solo, because the other ones, if they hit the boss, he'll hit back and he'll cause too much damage. And then with his passive, he's tanky enough, he got immortal, so he's healing himself. Every time his passive procs, with the mastery, let's talk masteries here, to extend his buffs. You just want War Master on him to start chipping into the boss's HP, and a chance to refresh, increase his healing and all of that, and the shields. A chance to refresh the skill, so he'll get his passive and his skills faster, and to extend his heals. That happens usually, so he gets continuous heals to top him up when he drops below half health, and he just kills the Scarab eventually. This build that I have, so Scarab has two different affinities. In the original rotation, rotation 1, which is on now, it's force affinity, so he is weak affinity towards Vergus. While on the second rotation, which is rotation 3, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, but the other rotation, the boss, the Scarab, is neutral affinity to Vergus because it is also spirit. What difference does this make? The chances of, because the worst thing that can happen during a run is that if the boss steals Vergus continuous heals, so he won't heal himself and he'll start dropping his HP and dice. So you need a specific amount of resistance on Vergus to make this work. So this one is the easier of the two rotations, but those builds I'm going to show you works for both rotations. He's solid enough, he got enough resistance, HP, and defense to tackle the boss on both rotations. Let me show you the stats now and we'll talk about them. So my Vergus is 225 speed, and I'll tell you a trick here, and his resist is 376 is more than enough. I haven't faced any issues on both rotations with that level of resistance. Speed is 225, it's good enough. HP is 55k, and defense is 4.3k. You need to stack as much resistance, defense, and HP as you can, because this is how he survives. He needs the defense so he's not taking much damage from the boss. He needs the HP so his health bar is big enough so while when he gets the continuous heals, it tops him back out before the Scarab hits him back again and gets that continuous heals one more. So all of these stats are important. Just take a screenshot of it because I don't think you'll do it with much less stats. You can try. The only trick that I don't need to do, because my gear is good enough, you can sacrifice some speed and give him 2 sets of masteries. So I don't need that because he's solid enough for me. So you'll give him this one, which basically give him speed for the light. You definitely want to give him that anyway because you need him taking more turns for the immortal set to heal him and to get back to his continuous heal passive faster. So definitely this mastery. Why I don't need to take that other one? Yeah, because I have gear to make him fast enough. So you can make him a bit slower, but the requirement if you take this mastery to give him more speed to balance that is he needs to kill 3 enemies from the waves. So you need to manual till you get to the boss. I didn't want to manual, so my gear was good enough, so I just gave him this one, and this is my set of masteries. And like I said, the stats you can, if you didn't take a screenshot, you can go back and do it, but the stats work on both Scarab rotations. We'll talk about Euros later on. So where's my Scarab 100 team? You see, I even named it Scarab 100 Spirit. 2 things about the team. So you see here Vergus, just to be safe, resistance wise, I've put Brogni. What is Brogni's? Hold on. I thought that Brogni. Oh no, I was thinking. Stupid me. I was thinking. Somehow I was thinking Cethalia that her resistance aura is only for magic champs. No, I think Brogni is Doom Tower hard. Yeah, so yeah, that's why. So I've put Brogni in lead to make sure that Vergus resistance is high enough. Logan here just because he has a destroy set, but he should die as soon as we get to the boss. Lydia, she just puts the defense down and weaken, not needed. Basically, Lydia and Logan, you can put anyone in that spot. It doesn't matter. The important 2 champs next to Vergus are Brogni for the resistance aura, unless you can stack even more resistance than you've seen in my build on him. And Brago is huge. Brago, if you have enough resistance, you can actually put Brago as lead to give him even more defense. And Brago's passive gives everyone on the team 10% of his defense. even if he's dead. So if you stack, like, I think my Brago have at least 6,000 defense, so that gives Fergus another 600 defense. When I was trying without Brago, I couldn't stack enough defense on Vergus. So, like I said, it's all about the gear, but these champs, Brago was a fusion a long time ago, and Brogni, if you're playing that long, they are important because they have roles. The other ones are just like anyone. Let's disable this. I might not leave the run to the end because the Scarab runs are a bit long. I'll just show you that it's working, then I'll talk about the second one. So as you're seeing, I'm not manualing because I don't need the extra speed from Vergus killing people, but I just want to take the waves down as soon as possible and then get to the boss. And when we get to the boss, you'll see that everyone will die and Vergus will just stay. Usually when we get to the boss, everyone dies quickly enough. Brago's too tanky, so he takes a couple of turns, but things are safe. And the one important thing about the AI, you can do whatever you want on the AI setup. You must prevent Vergus from using his ally protect on all 3 rounds, because if he's protecting the team, he's taking hits and his health is dropping. You don't want this. You want everyone to die and Vergus to get to the boss. So you see here, we got to the boss and they'll die in a second. I'll just show you how it's working, the mechanism of Vergus gaining back his health. You see when Vergus hits, he starts chipping at this health bar. Now the boss stalls up, increased speed, not optimal, but don't worry about it, everyone will die in a sec. And you just leave it on auto. This is the beauty of it. You invest, you farm gear if you don't have the proper gear, till you get Vergus to that specific spot of that level of gear. You make sure that your comp is working, and then you just leave it running on auto up to the highest level. And of course, the same speed, needless to say, works on the lower levels as well, because there is no speed tune to this. You just make him as tanky as possible. So what stats to increase if your gear is even better than mine? Resistance. You might not need Brogni if you can add like 50 more resistance to Vergus. Defense. If you can add a couple of hundred more, you might not be needing Brago. And speed, so he can heal himself and get back to his skills faster. So you see now they started dying. This team is tanky, so I would say in an optimum run, I should remove those tanky champs. But like I said, my motto is if it's not broken, don't fix it. This team worked for me. I just never touched it. Though I'm not using that team now. I'm using the second version that I'll show you, which is very similar. The only thing is that after, I think, the second Lego champ you get from Doom Tower Hard is Eurost. Eurost is a void Lego, and he's very useful in tackling dungeons and stuff because of his crazy passive that puts poisons on the attacker when they attack him. So I'll show you how different the Eurost build is. What is the difference between Vergus and Eurost? Eurost is basically the Eurost build doesn't need speed because it's depending on, actually it needs him to be slow enough because we need the Scarab to hit him many times to stack those poisons. If he's fast enough, he won't achieve that. So the need to make him slower makes it easy to stack other stats on Eurost, and also because he's a void Lego, his stats are much higher than Vergus, so the gear requirement might be a bit lower. Okay, so we're getting to half health with Vergus. You'll see now when the Scarab hits him a couple of times, you'll see the continuous heal. You see here, and he got it for 3 turns because of the mastery. And now he's topping himself back up before the heals expire. And when the Scarab hits him again, it's just a cycle. So this is how it works. I'll let it happen one more time before I cancel, just to show you that it's very consistent. With this build and team, it doesn't fail, even in the tougher one, the Spirit Scarab boss. So back to talking about Eurost, because we'll show him after this run. So he needs to be slow. I'll show you the stats, just loads of HP. The other benefits, so he doesn't need speed and he doesn't need resistance, because you don't care what the buffs, he's not buffing himself, you don't care what Scarab puts on him. debuff wise, because it's only his passive that we're looking for. Eurost runs goes much faster than Vergus, so that's why I built Eurost for this, because I didn't want just to leave it on auto for a ton of time farming the keys, because Untouchable, the gear set that you'll get from Scarab is one of the good ones for immunity, for resistance. So you see here now he's dropping back. It took him a while because he's tanky, which is exactly what you need, because this passive got a cooldown. And now when he drops below, you see here, he gave himself only 2 times. 2 times is more than enough. He got enough resistance. That heal is not being stolen from him. And now he's healing himself back. The Scarab drops him. He heals himself back with the passive, and that's it. And as soon as that purple shield is completely destroyed, he starts doing more damage to the Scarab, so the run goes much faster. That's basically it. I won't torture you and make you watch it all the way to the end. Let's put the heals on him one more time, and that's it, to show the consistency. The good thing also about Euros that people found is that when you put poisons on Scarab, it takes down his health. It doesn't depend on taking the shield down. And I'll show you this in the other run. Okay, my Vergus is too tanky. He's healing himself even more, so he's not getting those heals. But yeah, you saw the build and you saw how it runs. Now I'll show you the Eurost build, so you can take a screenshot of it. So this is Eurost. Eurost, what you need to do, the only thing you need is and now this needs speed tune. Like I was saying with Vergus, you make him as fast as you can. You cannot do this with Eurost. Eurost needs to be at a sweet spot at a certain speed tune, so he's healing himself from the immortal and regen pieces. We just want him to stay healthy, but at the same time he's slow enough so Scarab is attacking the right amount of times to stack the poisons. If you make him too fast, he's not stacking poisons enough and he will get killed. If you make him too slow, he's not taking the right amount of turns to heal himself. So immortal and regen, this is the requirement, so he can heal himself enough, and this is the speed sweet spot. If you see other content creators videos about Eurost, they differ about how fast you can make him, but this is what worked for me. So over 100k HP, some defense is okay, like 3k. If you can stack more defense and HP on him, 100%. And accuracy. He needs accuracy to land poisons with his passive. So you want at least 400k accuracy, maybe above 350 you're okay, but don't risk it. That sweet spot, you can test with the speeds. Like too high or too lower, not more than this, and see if it works for you. And then as much HP, as much defense, as much accuracy as you can. You do not care about resistance. Okay. Masteries. We don't care about damage. He's not taking him down with War Master. And you don't care about resistance. It's just, after taking that route, it's just accuracy that you need on him. Okay. Let's show now the Eurost run. So, and this is my Eurost team. As you see, the difference is that I don't care about the other champs. That's why I've put, and you see here, because I needed more defense on my Eurost, that's what I was talking about, and I don't care about resistance. There is no Brogni there. Basically, Mashalad, Baron, and why am I blanking? And Candy are there to take down the waves fast. Brogni to give him more defense with the aura and the passive. Okay, let's do this. And like I said, this run takes much less. One thing, because the team is squishier, so they die faster. And then it's only the Scarab hitting Eurost, so it's taking a bit less time than the Vergus teams. I guess why I've shown both of these, because if you're starting your Doom Tower hard rotations, you do not have Eurost yet. He's the second Lego that you'll get from Doom Tower hard secret rooms. So you need to build your Vergus. You'll use your Vergus for, I would say, at least maybe, I don't know, 6 months to a year till you gather enough fragments from secret rooms on Doom Tower Heart to get you Rust. But eventually, when you get your Rust, you want to use him. You see here he's stacking poisons from his passive. When the Scarab is hitting the team, everyone will die. Bragu will die last because he's the tankiest, but he will die in a sec. Okay, he's down, and then that's it basically. You see, Yost is not taking turns. He's taking turns healing himself because of how much HP he has, but then Scarab keeps hitting him and stacking those poisons. And you see he's dying fast, like we are eating into his health bar much faster without the need to destroy his max HP shield. So we don't need destroy sets here. And that's a level of HP. You see, my Euros is still dropping a little bit at the beginning, but he starts healing himself. So you cannot risk giving him less HP and defense than this. If you can stack much higher defense on him, you might not need Brago as lead because this is the only other requirement for the team, Brago and Euros. If you can only get to that level of HP and defense like my Euros, and then yeah, again with that specific speed tune, he works well on both Scarab affinities and on all levels of Scarab with no change. This is the sweet spot for everything for Euros. You see here, I can leave it running because, yeah, just to show you it works all the way to the end. We already down to half, and you see it is much, much faster than the Vergus one. Like I said, you'll get your Rust much later on, so you need to build your Vergus, invest in him. He won't have much use, maybe other than Faction War and the Spirit Epic Champs secret rooms after you get your Rust, but he's worth investing in because you will keep using him till you get your Rust much later on. So yes, build your Vergus, then your Rust when you get him. So that's how it runs. I cut a bit of it out. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.